Welcome, traveler. You have summoned the Phoenix Gate, or it has summoned you. This gate appears when you are closer to a life shift than you realize. I am the Golden Rose, High Priestess and Psychopomp in this liminal space. If you are ready for truth, the crossing begins. What is my viewer's current energy? That is too many. Connection. The desiring of, currently beginning, contemplating, but your current energy is, your attention is focused on connection. Where has my viewer surrendered their power? So you've surrendered your power and depth. This is telling me that you have an emotional truth. Something in a connection is affecting you deeply. And rather than rocking the boat, you are choosing to not say anything. So you have surrendered the depth of your being, your sensitivity and your vulnerability to a connection, which is creating a misbalance in power, right? This creates a power dynamic because you're no longer both operating within equal agency. Now, because you have opted to remain silent or to keep this to yourself, this surrender of power creates the hierarchy. It creates the imbalance. It creates the polarity. What illusion keeps you compliant to this surrender? Sanctuary. You think it keeps you safe. This may be family. This may be a relationship. It's maybe that you don't feel like you have the experience or trust yourself enough to make the change or step out on your own, out from under the umbrella of this connection. But the illusion that keeps you compliant is that you will lose your sanctuary, your safe space. But what I want you to ask yourself right now is, if you are afraid of losing it, is it really safe? If it makes you surrender your power, your depth, your sensitivity, is it really safe? Is it really a sanctuary? What truth is my viewer ready to live? Cooking Wuti said number set. Thank you. What truth are you ready to live? You are ready to step out in self-realization. Two others flipped over in the deck, and I'm going to put them out here because they further support. There's a resistance to let go of this. So because these both came out, like they didn't fly out, I have a rule in how I treat the cards in order to make sure I'm keeping myself out of it. That if they don't fly out, I don't take them. That way I know I wasn't choosing. But these ones didn't fly out, so I wouldn't have taken them except they turned over. That's my other rule, right? But this one flew out. So this is the truth you are ready to live. And that is that this is the knowledge you carry. You are ready to step out in your depth, to let your depth have place and presence. Okay, this is you're ready to step forward. Okay, to reveal. This, because these are out here in double, this is telling me this is a really big fear. So I don't want to dishonor that in you either. This is telling me this isn't just a light connection, right? This is something that you have a lot invested in, a lot of stability and security. Like you have double sanctuary out here. So that is a lot of you is invested in this. That's a big fear. Okay, that's why this road looks like it ends to get to there, and you're stepping in this void. It feels that way, and that is the resistance, right? But I want you to see that this hand is here. The path is before you, the doors are there, but this hand is here to carry you. Okay, so the resistance is an illusion. The feeling of sanctuary is the illusion, and you're resisting accepting that. That is the truth you are ready to live. What boundary must be established? What boundary must be established? I'm going to put these over here a little bit to the side. They can scoot over to there and still be on camera. Okay. But I want to preserve the core of the reading. These are supportive to this one card. But I want to keep the coherence, the cohesion of the reading intact. What boundary must be established? What boundary? The skeleton. A curse of bones, time and dust, things that were never meant to last. In the story of Sedna, the relationship that led to her goddess state, she is goddess of the sea, was her father throwing her over a boat. Right? So this is a parental wound relationship. This creates deep wounding, which is why I feel it's a skeleton, because it has had time to decay, right? Like this isn't new. This isn't a fresh wound. This is an old pattern or behavior, maybe even ancestral, which is what a lot of the patriarchal patterns of behavior that we have are, right? These belief systems. So somewhere there's a wounding you've maintained silence because of the fear of what that's going to upset in your sanctuary. But that silence, that wound, and not speaking about it is what is holding you back. That is the boundary that must be established. You have to get the skeletons out of the closet. You have to step into your truth, speak it, protect yourself, take the actions that are necessary to protect your values, goals, and dreams, right? This may not be like a physically bad situation. This may be a goal related situation, a value related situation, but you have to protect it the same. Let us pause at the threshold to take in the view. We have felt what was ending and what truths asked to be faced. Change often carries grief alongside liberation. Before we take flight from here, take one audible, slow breath to release this. In. Hold. Release. Now let's reveal the wings that you are forming. What decision restores your authority? Transformation. And ending is clearing the way for renewal. Though change may feel challenging, it is a necessary step towards growth. Embrace the transformation and trust in the promise of new beginnings. Let go to make space for what is coming. Be open to the possibility that this connection may be holding you back. Be willing to see what can develop without it. That's all that card is asking you to do. And then take the next step aligned with that towards your goals, towards your depth. Your depth is your value set, right? Honesty, integrity, dignity, your values. And it is very, very clear that you value your sanctuary, your home, feeling safe in your home. And if this connection has you feeling unsafe in your home, this reading is telling you to be open to the possibility that there might be more and better than this connection. Be willing to see what your life or what possibilities could be there without this connection in the way. Be open to this connection holding you back. Be open to the idea that this connection may be a threat to the sanctuary. Be willing to consider what your life is like without it. That is the first step. That is the decision, is just to be open and willing to consider and reflect on these things. That's the decision. I can feel some really big intensity here. Sanctuary is huge for a lot of us, especially if we have any form of childhood trauma, any kind of trauma that is severe threat to our physical safety or security, our intimate safety or security, mental, physical, emotional well-being. Sanctuary becomes very, very big. We have to have a safe place to go to in the world. And when threat and danger comes into our home, we have to be open and willing to seeking options and possibilities for what our life can be without that connection and what we need to do to get there. Okay, I am feeling the tightness in my chest. Like I'm having a hard time moving on in the reading because I'm having it impacting my breathing, right? Like I am feeling like I'm having to pause to kind of adjust and catch my breath. Like I've been running almost. Or the feeling of someone's about to walk through the door and I dread it. That is awful. That is a very difficult and painful place to be. And if you have a lot invested in this connection, which is what a skeleton would be, right? This was something you invested in a great deal a long time ago. This is an identity, but the identity is gone, right? You're carrying around an identity that no longer has form anymore. That was a significant investment, but it seems old at this point. Like because it's a skeleton now, it's not even something that I see you really even having any desire to continue feeding. It is just hanging on. It's an empty obligation. And I invite you, here's a way to look at this. Let's look at the decision this way. The decision that restores your authority in this transformation is to, wherever you feel the word obligation come up in your choices, right? Like, oh, I have to do this. Instead of saying I have to, say I am invited to. And feel in your body how that changes your response in action, right? When you change the word to invited, do you still feel the urgency to perform? And if you don't. If instead you feel pleasure and a confidence in being able to perform what is being asked of you, then continue. But drop the word obligation, because we have so much psychologically loaded with the term obligation. A lot of it creates anxiety, that it can distort our perception of the truth. Changing the word to invitation gives you a little bit more choice back in the question without changing the context. Okay. All right. What signal or action will show them that they are crossing into their new phase? That they have successfully taken the steps needed to initiate this transformation? Because we're trying to initiate this transformation in your life. You don't want to stay stuck in this situation. And that is what this self-realization is that you have to move. You're at a point where you have to move. That's the self-realization. And it's scary because it feels like a cliff point. So what action proves they're crossing their new phase? What will be their signpost, right? Your signpost that says this is the way you're going. Opportunities abound, so more doors will open, right? You have a path here where it looks like a big old cliff, but then this one has a whole bunch of open doors. And even way over here, there's a door. So choices will appear. Opportunities bound, but not all are as they appear. Take time to assess your options and choose with clarity. Trust your intuition to guide you toward what aligns with your truth. Avoid distractions that cloud your vision. Especially avoid any influence from the connection that is presenting the harm or anybody in support of that. Do not seek suggestions and guidance in how to take steps and progress towards your goals from people who feed and seed doubt, fear, and insecurity over your life, or are in support of and will feed the narratives of other people who do. Okay. So move in silence with the people who might do that to you, And that will help you with this too, because they will present you choices and options. Everybody has their opinion. And that's part of what this reading is an opinion on how to approach your situation. So everybody has their opinion. Use your discernment. And I offer one tool to help you do that. Don't let the saboteurs in. Do not give away information to people who can use it against you, because they will sabotage you and undermine you to protect the pattern. Because we all have an addiction to our familiar suffering. We all have a fear of letting go of the familiar. Okay, so be careful. Use your discernment. But the appearance of these choices and opportunities, more and more choices, more and more opportunities. Right now, you probably feel like you have few, like you're getting funneled. When it starts reversing the funnel and more doorways open, is your sign that you are crossing into your new phase, that you have stepped into your transformative period. What internal or external support is available to them? I really want to see this because I can feel the weight of this. There's a lot of heaviness in there. Being unsettled in your sanctuary area of priorities is very, very disturbing. And especially when it relates to a connection. Like if it was a thing threatening your sanctuary, you could almost get over that. But when it is something else you care about, a person that you care about, that is different. We don't treat that lightly. We honor our grief. We honor our pain. We take the steps we need to take care of ourselves. Internal, external support available as they begin this walk. Obviously, there's always counseling, spiritual and religious support is always available. There are programs and community supports, but internal, external support is available to my viewer. The poet. Relationships and vulnerability. So what I see is this creating opportunities for new relationships where your vulnerability will not be capitalized on. You will have the opportunity to embrace and be more vulnerable and reclaim your sanctuary. Okay, so it feels like a loss. And this is telling you it will not be lost because it'll come back around in a different form. Okay. All right, what final message does their evolved self send back to them? Your future self. What does their future self want them to know? As they are preparing to face this connection that needs some boundaries and pruning. Have confidence. This will also increase your confidence, right? Confidence isn't something we have before we go into a situation. It is what we develop as a result of overcoming. Okay. So this is the promise of where you will end up. And know that there are two, which means you will not be alone. You will have other connections that will produce the same effect, right? In between both the sanctuary. So whatever you are removing here, whatever is lost here is coming back around. And I know that doesn't change the significance of what this connection or person is, because another form is not the same thing as this one form, this one person, this one connection. We don't forget that connection. We don't dishonor our memory of that connection and the beauty of us that loved in that connection. But we have the maturity to realize it isn't working, and staying in it is harming both of us. And we have the openness to know that there are other opportunities that will, and that is what we are here to do. And it is an illusion to believe that there is permanence in an ever-changing world. And we have been taught to believe that all relationships are supposed to be this permanent thing, but the only thing that's coming down the road for all of us is death. And I know that that is a hard thing to face. But if this connection is actively harming you, it's taking away time, taking away life from you, and it is preventing you from having this. And nothing should prevent you from feeling safe in your home or sanctuary. Nothing. The Phoenix Gate has opened. The fire has claimed truth. The ashes have been witnessed. The wings are forming. What you carry forward from this gate is yours to nurture, protect, and grow. Transformation is rarely loud. It is often quiet choices repeated over time. You are allowed to move at the pace your truth requires. Thank you for crossing this threshold beside me. If this reading spoke to your journey, you are invited to share what resonates in the comments. Until the next gate summons.